Hello, welcome to Mountains of Evidence, where we try to bring you lessons to uplift you and encourage you in your daily walk with God. We have been talking to you about personal resilience. What is the source of it? And today we want to talk to you about the case of Joseph, found in Genesis chapter 37 and chapter 37 to 50. Joseph was his father's favorite son. And because of that, his brothers were jealous. One day his father sent him to join his brothers who were minding the flocks. And they sold him. They plotted first to kill him. And then they sold him into slavery. He was bought by Potiphar, a high official in Pharaoh's government. While he was serving faithfully with Potiphar in Potiphar's household, Potiphar's wife accused him of rape, falsely accused him of rape. And as a result, Joseph was thrown into prison, into jail, the dungeons, for not only did he not commit a crime, but for doing the righteous thing, resisting the sexual advances of Potiphar's wife. But while he was in prison, lo and behold, God is going to bless Joseph. Because even while he's in prison, he is walking the faithful walk with God. So in prison, surrounded by prisoners, real criminals probably, they were having dreams and he was interpreting their dreams. On one occasion, two of Pharaoh's servants were thrown in prison for whatever they did, were his butler and his cupbearer. Joseph interpreted the dream of the butler, and lo and behold, the outcome of his dream was not going to be good. He was going to be beheaded. But the other one, the cupbearer, he had a favorable dream, a favorable outcome, that he was going to be restored. He was restored to the household of Pharaoh. And one day, Pharaoh had a dream that nobody could decipher. And the cupbearer remembered Joseph. He remembered that Joseph was good to him. Once more we see, if we walk righteously, as long as we do the right thing, at least one person will remember the good that we do, and we may find favor with them or with God for it. And so Pharaoh called Joseph, and Joseph interpreted the dream. And the dream was there were going to be 7 years of bumper crops in Egypt and 7 years of famine. And so Joseph instructed Pharaoh to build enough barns to hold the surplus harvest for the 7 years, so that when the years of famine came, the people of Egypt would be fed. And it turned out exactly as Joseph had seen in the dream. Now, note very carefully, it was God revealing the answer to these dreams to Joseph. Joseph could not interpret any dream except with the gift of God. And so Pharaoh raised Joseph to be his number 2, governor over all Egypt. And guess what? The years of famine were raging, and so Jacob brought his family in Egypt to escape the famine. And lo and behold, Joseph was reunited with his family. What are we seeing here? Joseph was literally a walking magnet of tragedy. From one tragedy to the next. Hate from his own brothers, the plot to be killed by his own brothers, being sold in slavery, working as a slave for free, being accused wrongly, sent to jail for something, a wrong that he did not commit, rather sent to jail for the right that he had committed, that he had done. And yet in all these things we see Joseph staying the course and keeping his faith. Why is Joseph keeping his faith? Because Joseph has constancy of godly purpose. His purpose from the time he was a young boy until he died was to serve God and to be pleasing to God. To the extent that, just imagine, before Joseph died, he gave instructions to the children of Israel in Egypt to take his bones back to the promised land, to be buried in the promised land. And so they did when they were freed from Egypt, to the extent that of all the children of Israel that came directly out of Egypt, only Joshua and Caleb, two other remarkable men, and the bones of Joseph made it back to the promised land. Constancy of godly purpose. Our Lord Christ said in John 6:38, my purpose is to do the will of the one who sent me. And that was Joseph's purpose. And he kept that purpose constantly in mind, no matter where he was, in a pit, as a slave, in jail, or as governor of the entire land of Egypt. His purpose was still to serve the living God. And so God restored him mightily. Because you know what? If you read the 5th chapter of the Bible, Hebrews, the only child of Jacob who is mentioned in the 5th chapter of the Bible is Joseph. And not only did God reward Joseph when he was alive, but God rewarded his posterity, because guess what? 2 tribes of Israel, Ephraim and Manasseh, were named after the sons of Joseph. Oh, how marvelous it is. How wonderful it is. No matter what tragedy befalls us, no matter how much oppression we suffer, no matter how much illness, how much oppression, how many accidents we have been through, no matter how tough our life, if we can keep serving God with that constancy of purpose, God is going to restore us and make us come back to something that is even greater, better, if not in this life, in the life to come. Because Joseph did not see the promised land alive, but his children saw the promised land. So I want you to take a word of encouragement from this. Just keep God's purpose in mind. No matter what happens, you lose your job, you get hit with cancer, you get hit with some tragedy, you lost your life savings. Don't be bothered by it. Keep constancy, God's constant purpose in mind. And I am confident that God will restore you to a better position, physically, materially, and spiritually. If not spiritually, if not in this life, physically, He will restore you to eternal life hereafter. May God bless you today as you execute His purpose. Thank you.